Lisa did not know if she could ever forgive herself for what happened to her daughter. She just let her little girl play alone in the forest, believing it was safe. But it was apparently anything but that, as Mindy managed to get bitten by a cobra snake. She was rushed to the doctor as soon as possible, but had some bad news for the girl and her mother. What was a cobra snake even doing around here? But before we start our story, smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. An animal like that should never be able to survive around these parts of the world, but there was no doubt that she had seen it correctly. The doctor even managed to confirm it from the bite marks. Lisa was holding the hand of her daughter Mindy, just waiting for the inevitable. Then one of the nurses came to her with a bizarre revelation. But what was the cobra around these parts of the world? Why did the doctor think it was too late for Mindy, and what had the nurse found out? Would Mindy make it through this? Lisa was just sitting in her garden reading a book when a blood-curdling scream made her jump up from her chair. There was no doubt in her mind that it had to be Mindy. Without giving it a second thought, she started running into the forest looking for her daughter. She repeatedly shouted Mindy's name, hoping to get a response. The forest may be small, but it was very dense. Finding her little girl here could be very difficult if she did not have an indication of where to go. Her mind was also working overtime to figure out what could have happened. There should not be any dangerous animals around these parts, and nobody knew that Mindy often played here. The house was pretty remote as well, so the chances of encountering somebody she did not know were extremely slim. But something had happened that Lisa could have never foreseen. Lisa was too late to see it. A big snake slithered its way up to Mindy, and as soon as Lisa spotted the snake, it latched onto her daughter's ankle for a fraction of a second. Lisa screamed as Mindy jumped up from the pain and shook the snake off. But now it was coming for Lisa. Lisa had drawn the attention of the snake when she appeared, pushing it toward Mindy, and now Mindy was bitten. Lisa had to do something, but now the snake was coming after her. Mindy had been trying to avoid the snake, and now Lisa would have to do the same. But was she quick enough? The snake slithered quickly in the direction of Lisa. She only had moments to make a decision about what to do. She could try and run and leave Mindy behind, but that was unthinkable. She couldn't leave her daughter in danger. No, Lisa got another idea. She needed a branch, and fast. Lisa saw a Y-shaped branch on a tree nearby and was able to rip it off the tree. When the snake was close enough, she managed to pin its head to the ground with the stick. She had done it. She had trapped the snake. But now she needed to get rid of it. Thinking of Mindy, Lisa grabbed the snake just behind its head. She quickly lifted it up and launched it as far as she could away from them, deep into the forest. It landed quite a bit away from Lisa and Mindy, which she was thankful for, but now they had to get out of there. Lisa picked up her crying daughter and rushed to the house. The forest was dense, but she knew that she had to find her home, and fast. Mindy needed a doctor as soon as possible. Lisa couldn't believe that there was a snake like that in their forest. She wasn't a snake expert, but she knew a cobra when she saw one. How a cobra ended up in her forest, Lisa didn't know, but she couldn't focus on that now. She continued to rush through the forest, hoping that she was headed in the right direction. Sure enough, she soon saw the back of her house coming into view. She and Mindy were home, but now they needed to get to the hospital. When they got home, Lisa immediately put her daughter in the car and started driving. She picked up her phone and called the hospital. They needed to know that she was coming. It was an emergency, and they had to be ready if they were going to save her little girl. The hospital's receptionist sounded very confused when Lisa told her that she was bringing in a patient who'd been bitten by a cobra. It seemed impossible. A cobra around here? It sounded almost as if the receptionist didn't believe her. Lisa insisted that they needed to be prepared, but would they listen? From the emotion and panic in Lisa's voice, it was clear that she was serious and that something was very wrong. The hospital told her that they would be ready to receive her and her daughter. There was just one problem, but they wouldn't tell her until she arrived. They didn't want Lisa to panic further. The hospital was ready when Lisa pulled up. She was sure that she had broken every speed limit law on the way there, but she didn't care. She would pay any fine to get her daughter help in time. Pulling up to the emergency room, there were people there ready to take Mindy as soon as she stopped. Mindy was limping from the bite, so the nurses put her on a hospital bed and rushed her to a room to have a doctor take a look at her. It was indeed a cobra bite, they concluded. They needed to get as much poison out as possible. But there was still one other problem. This was not the standard procedure. Usually they would start by administering anti-venom, but the hospital didn't have any. It wasn't normal for cobras to live here, and the hospital was not prepared to deal with a bite victim. They didn't have a single drop of anti-venom in the building or any hospital nearby. So the hospital had to start by getting as much poison out of Mindy's system as fast as possible. Unfortunately, the poison was likely already in Mindy's blood by now. This could cause serious problems. Lisa was distraught, and Mindy wasn't looking good. They needed the anti-venom. The nurses continued to work on Mindy. Any time now, symptoms would be showing up that could lead to Mindy's death. Lisa couldn't fathom living without her little girl. The doctor called in for an emergency supply of anti-venom, and it was on its way. But would it be too late? The doctor expected that the anti-venom would arrive too late, but then they found out there was no poison in Mindy's at all. The cobra was somebody's pet and had escaped a couple of days ago. But the owner had the poison glands removed, so all Mindy had were a couple of easily treatable puncture wounds. She was back on her feet in a matter of hours.